What's up, everybody? Sammy33. You know I'm excited. Big game for the Buccaneers later today. I'm just hoping that I can wake up in time since it's an early start. It's kind of hoping to be the late start time. But hey, I'm just happy that my team is playing this weekend. Their 5th trip to the NFC title game, and I believe I'm trying to remember, all have been on the road. At the Rams back in '79. At the Rams in '99, at the Eagles, actually 4, yeah, because at the Eagles and then now. So in my lifetime, they're 1-1. Obviously, the Eagles game, we always hear they're on a bar, but I'm pretty sure I played in chat every now and then, just to relive the good old days. And I was watching '99, Sean King trying to lead them to a 6-5 win over the Rams. Ricky Prohl and then the Bert Emanuel quote-unquote catch that ended that run. Makes you wonder as much as I don't like Trent Dilfer, if things would have turned out differently if we actually had our starting quarterback. But the Bucs find themselves here today with an opportunity to go to their 2nd Super Bowl. And again, if they do, they've got to do it on the road, facing the we expect MVP. I don't see how he wouldn't win it in Aaron Rodgers and the 13-3 Packers. One of those losses to Tampa Bay, and that actually was their worst loss of the season. So, with that said, what do I think happens today? Do I think the Bucs win? Do I think the Bucs go home and Aaron gets an opportunity to pick up ring number 2? Let's talk about it. First, I think we need to talk about what happened when they played earlier in the season. Everyone knows 10-0, quick start, and then back-to-back interceptions, a pick 6, and then one down inside the 5 that ultimately was a touchdown, and then the Bucs ran off. You go up 14-10, and then they just ran away with the game. 24 more points after that, total dominance. Starters are bench, beat down. And as you've heard Rodgers in his interview, that game means nothing. Throw it away. When you get here, no one cares. In a sense, he is right. I can't argue it, because if you remember correctly, I said the Saints. The mindset of your past dictates your future. Past indications show that the Bucs struggle against the Saints. They lost twice. So obviously, I don't see why it would be different. I see what they may need to do to change it. But they win. Will the Packers be able to do the same? So let's talk about some things. First of all, Antonio Brown's not playing. Some people are making that out to be a very, very bad thing. It's not good, don't get me wrong. Would love to have him play. But let's also remember that the Bucs did not have him play the first time they played. Evans is healthy. Godwin had a case of the yips against Washington, but he's obviously healthy. You have Gronk, you have Johnson, Scotty Miller, big play. So maybe they get him involved a little bit more. The one thing I will say we missed with Brown is the potential screen game. They did run more screens with him. I'm talking about wide receiver screens, but still you can get Tyler Johnson, Scotty Miller out in space and do the same. So we'll see what adjustments Leftwich makes for that. Also, Winfield had an ankle injury, and then he got upgraded, which is not a good sign. I'm hoping that he plays. If he doesn't, that's a big loss, because that means you have Edwards and Whitehead having to start. Winfield is a playmaker. At this point, you got to have your playmakers out there. That's a drop off. I like Edwards. He's solid, but he's not Winfield. So, and then plus when you go into nickel and dime, it kind of adjusts the packages that you're going to run. Someone else is going to have to fill in and step in. So you don't like to see that. I hope he can play. I hope he can play effectively, but we'll see. And then obviously Vita Vea, he's going to play. How much? I don't know. I did find a very interesting stat. Up to the point that he got injured, he and one other interior lineman, defensive tackle, nose tackle, only 2 players had a win rate of 20% or higher on pass rushes. You can probably guess that one is Aaron Donald, and no one will be surprised. The other is Vita Vea. So that actually is important. Again, getting after the quarterback and getting to Rodgers. This is important because I have some stats here that I wanted to pull up to kind of emphasize that point. Before, let's see if I can get it back again. The splits that the Bucs have against the rush, or again, defending a pass. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it because I had it. Here we go. First half of the season, this is what they had playing most of it because he got hurt early on. They allow a 66% completion percentage, 83.2 QBR. Actually, quarterback rating. It's not QBR. 28 sacks, 11 TDs, 11 picks, 70 yards on the ground, which is 3.2 a carry, and 229 yards passing. The second half of the season, or at least in their last 8 games, 264 passing yards, so bump that number up 35. Completion percentage is 72. That's terrible. 6%. Quarterback rating obviously is going to be worse, 105, so a whole 22-point jump. 19 sacks, so 9 less, 16 TDs and 4 interceptions. So you go from a 1-1, 11-11 to 16-4, 4-1. And they gave up more rush yards and more yards per carry. So the Bucs still have a number 1 run defense. I'm not expecting that to be an issue against the Packers, even though they have Jones and Williams. They do have a good tandem. They shut it down the first time. I don't see why they wouldn't do it the second time either. So that means all of the focus goes on Aaron Rodgers. So in that game, they blitzed the Packers 21 times. This doesn't include when he was taken out the game. They blitzed him 21 times. We know he struggled mightily in that game. I don't expect the same thing to happen for a couple reasons. One, Aaron Rodgers, while he has been worldly great this season, is actually the number 1 quarterback against the blitz. Believe it or not, he actually plays better than his season stats when he is blitz. That's a problem. As a Buck defensive coordinator, what do? We know Carlton Davis is going to shadow Adams. That's what he does. He's our number 1 corner. He follows across the field. He had 6 catches. All of those catches were, he had 6 catches on 10 targets. All of those were on Carlton Davis. We know the one big pass breakup that he had led to the second interception, so that's huge. But I don't actually think that's the matchup to be concerned about. Valdez-Scantling and the other receivers against Murphy Bunting and the guy that we always talk about in Tampa Bay, Jamel Dean. He gets picked on a lot. He got picked on in Washington. I know he's going to get picked on in this game. He has to have a good game. He did the first matchup. When he was facing coverage, he only allowed 2 receptions on 7 targets. We need something similar in this game. 6 targets. So we need something similar this game. He can't be a liability. 2, they cannot commit penalties. You can't help out the Packers. You're on the road. They did it a lot against the Saints on 3rd down, holding, pass interference to keep the drive alive. You can't do that against this team. Absolutely can't. So then that brings us up front. A concern, which everyone knows David did not play the last game. He's out for the season. Their star left tackle. But they completely just shredded the Rams' number 1 defense in the NFL. They completely shredded them. We know Donald wasn't healthy, so maybe you want to put a star asterisk on it, but they dominated them. What's going to be different with the Bucs? They're going to blitz the hell out of Rodgers. The Bucs have the most blitzes of any team in the NFL this season, called blitzes, and they have the most quarterback hits, so that's their approach. Now the question is, what do they play behind it? Do they play zone? Do they play man? Against the Saints, they play a lot of press on the edges with some zone in the middle, a lot of press on the edges while still playing zone all across the field. They're going to have to do the same. When you play quarterbacks of this caliber, you have to mix it up. There's nothing that they haven't seen. You're not going to really confuse them. It's just mixing it up so they constantly can't get the same look the whole game. The keys. Pass rush. You have to get home. JPP had a good game against him the first time. Now you're going to have Sue, Vea, him, Barrett. They all need to do well. Barrett has not really had a... We had the breakout game last year against the Panthers where we put everyone on notice, the 3 sacks, the multiple pressures. He's had the pressures this season. This would be a great day for him to get some sacks. Get some sacks, maybe a strip fumble or sack fumble. Create turnovers. Also, they have to control the middle of the field. So Devin White probably is going to blitz a little bit more in this game than he did last game. Great game by him, by the way. But Levante David on Tunyon. Tunyon has had a good season. David and White, between the two, they're going to have to be able to lock down the middle of the field. Now, I trust more in terms of coverage, David. They're going to have to be able to do their job in the run game. When they have opportunities, Williams and Jones, to get to the second level and make a play, these guys have to be sure tacklers. David is. White has been for the most part. Can't have big plays in the run game. Got to help make the play action for them not a factor. All on the defense. These are things I'm looking at. So then let's turn around and look at the Bucs on offense. So again, Brown's not playing. It's going to be an issue. We don't have Kappa playing guard. We have Aaron playing at right guard. He had a great game last week. Hopefully he can do the same. Now, the Packers are able on defense. They don't have a bad defense, but they also are not the Saints. They don't have a dominant defensive line like the Saints. They don't have a dominant secondary like the Saints. Though, all that said, the Bucs did not actually have a great passing game in the first matchup. Field position and the run. And we're going to focus on the run game. Good run game last week. Fournette, Jones, hoping for the same thing here for 2 reasons. 1, keep Aaron off the field. 2, long sustained drives, stay on schedule, 3rd and manageables. And 3, the play action. That's where the Bucs have been most effective on offense. Play action going deep and play action over the middle of the field. So if they can get the run game going, you're going to look for Gronk to be a little more involved in the passing game. Brake getting targets in the passing game as well. Also, something that people don't see that the Bucs tend to do is play action and still end up checking it down to the running back. So all that's doing is creating space for Fournette and McCoy. Hopefully he can get a little more play in this game, having opportunities to catch the ball in space on a check down and turn up the field and get yak yards. So play action needs to be a thing. They have also tried to move away from running the ball on first down, as is typical in the NFL, which is nice because the offense has been better. Also the screen game. Fournette had some nice plays. I hope to see that going. I don't think they're going to run them a lot because running back screens are something the Bucs offensive line has struggled with. And then all in totality, the Bucs offensive line has to protect Tom. Can't have turnovers, can't have sacks. We need to be able to keep being productive on offense. So, the question is, how do you attack the secondary? Well, I'm assuming Alexander is going to be on Evans. Not even worried about that because I still trust Evans to have a big game. Quiet last week, but Lattimore, he has not really had great games against him historically, so it's not a surprise. We have enough weapons on offense. You're going to have to put up some points. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I think the over-under is 51 points, 54 points. I don't think it's going to be a shootout, but we do need to put up some points. And the one thing we need to do is when we get in the red zone, we got to score. Can't be settling for field goals once we get inside the 20. This is not the team to do it against. It's the number 1 scoring offense in the league. You don't want to put yourself in a situation where you take a 12-play drive or 15-play drive and settle for 3 points and then boom, 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 touchdown. Those hurt. Got to do what you got to do. Got to get in the red zone. Got to score TDs when you're in there. Bucs have been good at that this year, but they did not do it well last week. They struggle with it in Washington too, so I'm watching that because that's key. Got to get 7 instead of 3. And then the one last thing that I want to talk about is special teams. Not their best day last week. 2 big punt returns, and thankfully one was negated by a penalty, otherwise it would have been a touchdown. So you gave up a huge return, basically giving them 3. Thankfully the defense held them to that, and then another big return on the next one. They run back, but thankfully there's a penalty. Otherwise they would have been up 10-0. Again, defense played really great last week to help negate some of the problems from other units. Suck up. I hope this is not the game, because this is one of the best kicking seasons ever in Bucs franchise history. If I could think about it, I think he has the most points by any kicker or any player, because obviously kickers aren't always going to have more points. Extremely accurate. Just please stay that way. This is the game that we may need it, especially in the cold. And then the intangibles, which I don't talk about. So I'm going to talk about Brady for a little bit. Brady actually did not, contrary to what the media tells you, Brady did not have a great game last week. He had some dangerous throws. He was fortunate that they weren't picked off. He didn't play bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bagging on Brady. I'm not trying to take credit away. He didn't play bad, but he also did not play great. He had a decent game. Marcellus White likes to say complimentary football. Defense does its job, set them up with short fields. They were able to cash in some touchdowns and get points. Bottom line, no turnovers. That was the key thing. None. Need to win the turnover battle, but I want to look at the intangibles for just a second. This is his 14th championship game. New team, new situation, but that confidence of I've been there, I know what to do in this moment, versus, though he is MVP, and though he is the more talented quarterback, in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers, he's not had that type of success when he gets to the conference championship round. There's one win against the Bears, a loss to Seattle, a loss to the Giants, a loss to Arizona, and a loss to the Niners. The Niners was a tough matchup, but anyway, because their defense was so freaking good, and they just literally just ran the ball all game. Like it was just ridiculous. But though the defense has not helped them in those games, I also look at Aaron. You haven't necessarily played great in a lot of those games. So the question is, can he play great in this moment? I expect Tom to be at least decent in this moment. I don't think he'll be bad. So are we going to get the lesser version of Aaron that we tend to get as the playoffs go on? I don't know. But in terms of confidence, I would feel more confident with Brady as my quarterback because I know he's been there. Gronk has been there. Even though he hasn't won, Brown has been there. These are guys that have had success elsewhere, and you hope that they can bring it and infuse it with the team. As in, when you look at the Packers, they have not been able to do it. They've had great regular season teams, and that hasn't translated to postseason success. Kind of like the Saints, even though there's other things. But at the end of the day, do you win or do you lose? The Saints, all the talent in the world, great team. They don't win in the playoffs, not enough. And we get the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, though it's not always Aaron's fault. Question is, can he be the reason why they win? I know Brady can be the reason why the Bucs win, but I also don't think he would be the reason why they lose. He's not going to turn the ball over, I don't think. He's not going to have that disappointing, just, rock bottom performance. Not saying that Rodgers does, but I also haven't seen him have those, I'm putting a team on my back performances. I'm putting this offense on my back, we're scoring points performance in this moment. I don't know. Just saying. All said, at the end of the day, 4 quarters, it's going to be a cold one. I had some time to think about it. I've been actually back and forth on this a lot. I am going to pick the Bucs winning this game. And I said it was going to be a low scoring game, and I mean it. It's going to be 23-17. Rodgers has the ball late, and they don't get it done. I don't know if it's a turnover or a sack or turnover on downs, but Rodgers is going to have that opportunity to have his moment as the MVP, and the Bucs defense is going to find a way to get a stop. And they're going to go to the Super Bowl and be the only team ever to play a Super Bowl host one in their stadium. The ultimate home team. I hope it's a close game. I think it will be. I can't see the Bucs getting there, even if the defense doesn't play great. I just don't feel like they're going to get blown out. I know Aaron Rodgers had a great season. He really has. I just feel like he's going to step back some. Brady's going to step up some from last game. We're going to have a meeting in the middle, and the defenses from both sides will do enough to keep this close. But at the end, Aaron is unable to get it done. Disappointing end for the Packers season, and the Bucs advance to the Super Bowl. So enjoy the games. I'm also picking the Bills to win. I know Mahomes is playing. I'm still picking the Bills anyway. I'm sticking with my pick back in, was it early December? I said that the Bills would win the AFC. So a Bills-Bucs Super Bowl. Holy hell. Two of the most championship challenge teams in American sports being in the Super Bowl would be hilarious, let's be honest. But I will say if the Packers win, I kind of hope the Chiefs win, because then you have Mahomes versus Rodgers. So I did pick the Bills, so I have to stick with that. I still think Bills-Packers would be a good Super Bowl too, but let's just worry about Tampa Bay first, right? They play first. So I'll be on streaming after the game is over, win or lose. I'm not going to be in a bad mood. It's whatever. Bottom line, I'm super proud of this team. They've had a great season. A lot of those guys will be back next year. We'll have to see what the offseason looks like. But to this point, super, super proud. There's nothing they can do to disappoint me. We've had a great season. That said, enjoy the games. I will see you later.